Let's get the latest in the world of business from Daryl Kwal. He joins us from home. Hello, Daryl. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Ernest. How are you doing?
Well, I'm fine. What's the latest you have for us
Great.
today?
Well, Ernest, West African government ministers have proposed reopening borders between their countries in the first half of July and allowing travelers from other countries with low or controlled levels of coronavirus spread by the end of July. Countries across the West Africa 15 ECOWAS trade bloc have imposed varying levels of travel restrictions in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. But with Ghana's case count on the rise, are we ready for the reopening? Here's Country Director of CATS International, APPIAH KUSI-ADOMAKO.
I think at the regional level, ECOWAS is leading an interministerial effort to get all borders open in a phased approach. So starting from 1st of July, they want all borders to be open for goods. And then on the 7th of July is also countries should start resume domestic airlines. And then by the 31st of July, they expect movement of goods and passengers across all borders. However, there's a caveat. ECOWAS wants member countries to ensure that the opening of the borders that do not result in a surge in the crisis. So if, let's say, between Aflao and Lomé, there's a high incidence of the virus, they want countries to take measures to prevent the surge of the virus. So there's a lot of measures but I think that it's very good to see the borders open to enhance trade, because there are some goods that we in Ghana will need from Nigeria and other goods that Nigeria also needs from Ghana. So opening the borders will allow international trade to flow and people will be able to sell, and economic activities will come back to the pre-crisis level. I think whether or not at a point in time we would have to open the borders by ensuring that we have protocols to go about. Currently, the cases have surged up and keeps on surging, and the president has not ordered the mass lockdown of the country. And so we should be able to go about our normal activities by ensuring that everybody complies with the social distancing, the hygiene, and all the other protocols. So I think we can allow the borders to be open and ensure that people who are coming in go through the required safety checks. And possibly we can start with some special corridors. Not all the. Let's say Ghana and Togo, we can only decide to allow only one pathway to be open so that they can monitor everybody coming in, because we cannot remain closed forever. Certainly not.
The views of CATS Country Director there, KUSI-ADOMAKO. Let's move on now. Managing Director of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Thomas Kofi Alonso, is asking for public support to enhance the work of seafarers who risk their lives on the maritime waters. He says the COVID-19 outbreak has placed so much pressure on the operations and the need for support. He was speaking at a media event to commemorate this year's World Seafarers Day in Accra.
World Seafarers Day is celebrated every 25th June by United States member countries to appreciate the contribution of seafarers in their country's GDP. This year's event is under the theme, Seafarers are key workers, essential to shipping, essential to the world. Managing Director of the Ghana Maritime Authority, Thomas Kofi Alonso, said seafarers must be given the necessary support and recognition for their hard work.
Under normal circumstances, the Day of the Seafarer campaign is organized to demonstrate how much seafarers matter to us. On those special days, social events and activities are organized to honor the enormous sacrifices they make for our comfort. With the unprecedented situation of the current global pandemic, this year, the Day of the Seafarer campaign calls for the recognition of seafarers as key workers within the context of the coronavirus pandemic. It also advocates for seafarers the provision of support and to ensure that seafarers are given the recognition they deserve for keeping the world moving in these trying times.
He underscored the need for recognition for their selfless dedication towards economic growth, especially in the wake of the global pandemic.
In these challenging times, seafarers have been the unsung heroes of this pandemic, as the world relies on them to transport about 80% of trade by volume, including vital food and medical goods, energy and raw materials, as well as manufactured goods across the globe. As they continue in this heroic profession, they have become collateral victims of the crisis, as travel restrictions have left tens of thousands of them stranded on ships or unable to join ships.
The Day of the Seafarer campaign is focused on paying tribute to seafarers during this COVID-19 era.
And that's your business update for now. Back to you in studio.